let's start, rather than do a seated centering, let's start on your back with your little ball, your playground ball. So knees bent, feet on the floor. So there's 3 positions of the head. You'll start with the ball pretty high up on the occiput, on the skull, so the chin is down and the forehead is up. So you're getting a stretch across the back of the neck. And just rest for a moment and settle into that space. You can either keep the knees just regular bent or go into constructive rest where you kind of pigeon toe and knock the knees together if that feels better. Just experiment and see what works here. But anything where you're not stressing or straining. And breathe. So we'll work today with, there's this lovely little Chinese poem. It's 10,000 flowers in spring, the moon in autumn, a cool breeze in summer, snow in winter. If your mind isn't clouded by unnecessary things, this is the best season of your life. So as certainly there are times when we think about how bad my life is right now, or how things suck, or how hard it is. But when we uncloud the mind and not focus on the unnecessary things, the little things, the things that really don't matter, you realize that right now, today is your best season. Mainly because we're here and we're present in this moment. So with the chin down, with the ball where it is, slowly turn the head and do it with the breath. So as you exhale, turn the head to one side and take one long, slow breath on that side. And just notice where you're stretching, what feels good, what feels tight. On your next inhale, you come back up to center. And next exhale, slow exhale, turn to the other side. It will kind of eat your hair a little bit, so you may have to pull it out of the way and take a breath or two on that side. And slowly inhale your way up. Repeat that again one more time each side. Exhale as you move and turn. Take a breath. Notice. And inhale when you're ready. Back to center. The point here is to do it super slow, no rushing, no hurrying. Enjoying the trip, right? Enjoy the turn. The point is not to get you all the way to one side, but to enjoy the turn as you come up. The next time you finish with your second side, then you place the ball right in the center back of the neck, so that if you can tell, your chin and your forehead are roughly parallel. So your chin is lifted a little bit, it's roughly parallel. And you do the same thing. So you're looking straight up at the ceiling at this point. And you rest here for a few moments and settle. Be very aware. What the balls help teach us is proprioception and interoception. Like, where is my body in space? That's proprioception. And interoception is, how is it feeling? When I do this, what do I feel? Where do I feel it? And when you're ready, the next exhale, you slowly turn to one side and pause there and notice any difference in the stretch and the twist. And when you've had a breath or two on that side, inhale your way up to center and exhale your way to the other side. So the slowness is one of the things that's most beneficial about with the ball work. And it's the very thing that drives me most crazy, because a tendency to move fast on it is very strong within me. Do it about 2 times each side. And you might feel, as you feel, the ball is very soft, so it's rolling over the vertebrae. You might feel something, but you shouldn't feel pain. You might feel tightness. If you're feeling pain, let me know. I'll get you a softer ball or let some air out of that ball. and finish up on the second side and look straight back up at the ceiling again. And then move the ball onto your seventh cervical vertebrae. It's the one that pokes out right here. It's down right at the top of the shoulders, the base of the neck. So your head is draping back over the ball. Top of the head might even touch the floor. You want as much of an arch in the neck, like you're looking back at the back wall where the ceiling meets the wall, looking almost behind you, but farther behind you there. And notice this will start to get into where you might feel some tingling in your arms. And that's where the radial nerves from the arms come in. And just breathe there for a moment and notice. And again, if this is uncomfortable, like really not like you want off of this, let me know. We'll either take you off and I'll try softening the ball a bit to see if that is better. So let me know. And then when you're ready, slowly turn to one side. For me, this is a much more intense position. And you're trying to keep your head draping over the back. The tendency to draw the chin back down towards the chest is very strong. So just pay attention, adjust it, and then slowly come back to center. You may have to reach back and move the ball a little bit. And come back, do it 2 times on the first side. And then when you've finished, don't hurry it, but finish your second side or wherever you are there. And then move the ball out from under you and just rest your head on the floor. And notice that if you needed a blanket under your head to start with, most likely you don't need that anymore because you've released so much in the neck. This is just a simple, it's one of the ball work strategies that's really great if your neck is tight, if you've been hunched over the computer too long, or gardening, all of those things we do that draw the head down, move us inward, and then roll over on your back. Roll over to your side and slowly press your way up to seated. Come up to hands and knees, pad your knees as you wish. And begin to do some nice cat-cows. Let the head and neck just roll through it with great ease. And gently moving back and forth if you want to do a few hip circles. You guys have been here enough that you know what your body wants at this stage, at this period. And then tuck your toes and shift back into an easy dog. Bend your knees, keep the knees bent and pedal it out, and slow pedals. So drop one heel and just pause there for a moment, noticing the tightness. And then drop the other heel and pause there. Oh yeah. And change sides as you wish, but just a beat or two on the heel, not pulling away from the stretch right away. Hanging with it for a few beats. And notice which is your tighter side and spend a little extra time on that side. And next, widen your feet mat width apart. Walk your hands back toward your toes. Come into half forward bend, public bathroom squat, half air chair. Call it what you want. Lift and spread the toes. And then reach the arms out, squat lower. Oh, first squat of the day. And push down and come up. Whew. All right, so just stand somewhere, wherever you are, it doesn't matter. Over here, so. And we'll do just some footwork, but it's called foot short or short foot shortening. But we start, you connect with the four corners of the feet. So you'll press down with the ball of the foot nearest the big toe, call it big toe ball, and go diagonally towards the outer heel. And then cross over to the inner heel and go diagonally to the baby toe, and then from the baby toe to the big. So you feel that little X box that you've made there. Keep the toes lifted to do this, and notice which point is lighter. For me, it's the point, the ball of the foot nearest the baby toe. That's the one that wants to curl up. So I'm working a little bit more. Notice what your legs have to do to keep that. So do you feel all of this kind of pulling up and engaging? Now, as you do that, you're pulling your arches towards each other. It's like you're pulling the balls of the ball of the foot towards the heel towards the ball of the foot. Micro bend your knees a little bit to give yourself a little space, and then keep that sense of upliftment, that short foot, and put your toes down and see if you lose it. And yes, the fingers definitely try to help. I do that all the time. So as soon as you notice it, you just shake it off. So can you keep that sense of short foot? Now release it, relax. And now I'll just show one here, but so this is regular flat foot. I have to pull this closer. And then I'm going to shorten it without lifting the toes. Can you pull your arches up on the inside and the outside without gripping the toes, right? So yeah, I can do it by gripping the toes, but can you just pull them up? You feel the legs are having to work here a fair bit, and then release it. And short foot again, so pull up. And notice you might be more active with pulling the inner arches in. See if you can lift your outer arch as well. That's a tricky one. All right, release it. It's a fair bit of work, yes? I was working with one of my pickleball friends. She said, I kind of have this knee thing. And I was seeing that she was just rolling. She was pronating a little bit, you know, kind of rolling. We either have a tendency to roll out or roll in. And she was rolling in a little bit. So I just had her, she had her tennis shoes on, but I just had her lift her toes inside the tennis shoes and do that short foot and lift up, press the knees, the shin slightly forward, hug in. She said, oh, the knee pain went away. It's magic. Anyway, all right. So think about your feet every time you're standing on them, pulling a short foot, not by clenching the toes. We can do that. In fact, clench the toes like you're trying to draw something in. You're clenching the toes, pulling them back towards you. And then release and clench back and release and clench back and release. These are good things to do when you're standing there waiting for the water to boil or something like that. And then lift all 10 toes. Press the big toes down, keep all the baby toes, the little toes up. I know, and try to stand. Just try the big toes down, right? But keep your arches up. Lift all 10 toes, put the baby toe down and the little toes, keep the big toes up. Come on, baby. There we go. You feel how much, yeah, you lose your balance. You have to micro bend your knees. Don't lock. Lift all 10, lower all 10, lift all 10, put the big toe down, put the baby toe down and the 3 in the middle stay up. And yes, do you notice the jaw and release? Okay. Those are just, I know, that's a mental game. I pretend I'm lifting them, you know, and after a while they lift because you send them messages down and they start to work. All right. Take the arms up in cactus, move them out, and notice the rotation in the shoulder here as we do it. So as we pull them down, now turn the palms back, and you see the upper arm bone does rotate in, but we don't want to collapse the head in. Pull it back behind you and pull it up. And do this without rolling forward. So keep pulling it back. And then out, rotate, turn the palms up, rotate up. Come down, rotate, turn the palms back, rotate in. Oh, I know, right? So when you do that with awareness, it's getting warm, then you start to feel what has to work to make your arms do the right thing. So when people have shoulder issues, it's often because they're pulling their arm out of the shoulder socket or rotating in too much, something like that. And that just helps you with awareness. All right, come step to the top of your mat. Have a blanket near you for knee down options. Have your blocks near the top of your mat. A little housekeeping on here. All right. Step to the top. And just stand. Lift all 10 toes. Short the foot, so pull the arches towards each other. Think about that. And lift the center arch, so the X across the bottom of the foot, lift right in the center of the plantar fascia there. Keep that. Notice which side, my baby toe side, wants to come up. And now extend the toes long without losing that sense of upliftedness. Isometrically hug your heels towards each other and micro bend your knees. So you're pressing the shins forward just slightly, especially you knee lockers. So you push back, then the inner thighs are pushing back. This is very tiny work, but intense. Inner thighs are moving back, and try to widen the inner thighs without widening the inner heels. Does that make sense? As soon as you start to widen the inner thighs, the heels, you feel them pull away. So you keep that engagement. Tailbone down, belly button up and in. Inhale, rise up. Exhale, bow forward. Inhale, halfway up. Exhale, bow. Oh, hamstrings. Inhale, halfway up. Exhale, bow. One more. Inhale, halfway up. Exhale, bow. Inhale, prepare, bend your knees. Stretch your right leg back straight like lunge. If you want a knee pad, slide a knee pad underneath there. Bring a block under your right hand. Stretch the left arm up and over and stretch away from the bent leg. Oh. Notice what stretches. For me, I feel a lot of quadricep stretch on the back leg. I recommend keeping the back toes tucked just because it makes you more stable and it helps stretch the toes. Then come up, take your block, take it out to the left, a little more unstable, be steady, press down into the front foot and reach up the other way. And then come back, downward facing dog. You can move your knee pad out of the way or keep it there if it's not too thick. And step your right foot forward, straight leg lunge. Knee down. Block up. Come up. So first we're stretching away from the front leg. So you can move this block out as far off as you need to get stability and a good stretch. Inhale, change the block to the other side. Oh. Stabilize both legs, but particularly the back leg, and stretch away. And release. Step back, downward facing dog. Just really settle into your dog. Lift your heels high, bend your knees, lift your sits bones. Now here, same thing, hug your heels isometrically together. You can't see them, they're tucked in behind your ankles, but keep them hugging like they're squeezing an imaginary couple of blocks there. And the inner thighs move back and way wide apart. Tailbone lengthens down the back of the legs and stretch away from your hands. Take the heart towards the feet. Inhale, shift forward, plank pose. Exhale, lower down all the way to the floor, chaturanga, or knees, chest, and chin. And first come up to Sphinx pose. And breathe here. So pressing down with the forearms, hug the elbows in towards each other, squeeze them in a little bit so you firm up the biceps, and stretch back from the core of the pelvis through the toes. Click all 10 toenails down, particularly the baby toe, and then pull from the heels to the glutes. Keep the legs strong, perch out onto your left fingertips and look out over your left shoulder. Jerry, don't drop the head down, lift the head, lift the head. There you go, look up above your shoulder, not under the armpit, there you go. And then release. The legs have to stay really strong here. Change sides. Legs are strong, core is lifted, tailbone is lengthened, and you stretch up and over. Push down with your forearm, that will help you get some space. And release. Plant your hands, tuck your toes, downward facing dog. Oh. Step your right foot forward, left foot, sorry, other right foot, your alt right foot. All right, left foot forward, keep the back knee up for now. And come up, take your time, steady up, press down. So I find if I really work the front foot a lot, but particularly the heel, the inner and outer heel, it gives me more stability. Back leg is strong, tailbone lengthen, pull the belly button up and in, rise up. Keep the back leg strong. The tendency once, because it's tight, mine's feeling quite tight, the quadriceps, I want to bend it, but not yet. Left hand grabs the right wrist and pull and arc towards the front leg side. And notice the front knee. Here's where it wants to roll in or unbend. Try to keep it bent if it doesn't hurt and pointing straight ahead. Release the right arm back to the back leg. Turn, woohoo. Now we're rolling. This is hard. Okay, steady on. Harder when I'm talking. And come up. Whew. Dizzy. All right, come on down. Downward facing dog. Oh. Step your right leg forward. Now your real right leg forward. So widen the stance enough. If the back leg is over to the left a little bit, of outer hip width apart, you'll be a little more stable than if the back leg is straight back. Steady up. So work through the legs and stretch it up. Then the right hand grabs the left wrist and you arc over. And then the reverse, reach for the back thigh. Make sure the front knee is pointing forward. It wants to roll in really a lot. Don't let it. And curl back. On your next exhale, release. And step back, plank pose. And lower down all the way to the floor. Rest your forehead on your left forearm, cross it in front of you, bend the right knee, and you're pressing the top of the, right at the top of the knee down into the floor. It's not lifting up, and you reach back for the foot. Maybe you can grab it, maybe you can't. Doesn't matter, just reach back for it. Press the top of the knee down, right at the bottom of the thigh there, and just stretch. Get a stretch on the quadricep. You can always use the handy dandy arm extender if you want to lasso it with the strap, but we won't be there that long. And release, change sides, right forearm forward, reach back for the left foot. Maybe you can grab it, maybe you can't, doesn't matter. Just reach for it. And spread the toes, engage the leg. And release. All right, so this next one, a nice stretch, but a little tricky to get into. Come into like you're flying here with arms at each corner of your mat. Rest your forehead on the floor. And draw your left knee up towards, just bend the knee. It's like a lizard, chameleon, whatever we're doing. And then straighten the leg. Walk your right hand over to the left corner and roll all the way back. Keep your foot, the inner edge of the left foot on the floor. The shoulder blades may or may not come to the floor, and stretch your left arm back, but keep pushing through your left leg. Don't let it come with. You want to keep it down. So in my case, my shoulders don't come, both the left shoulder does not come to the floor. Good stretch on the shoulders, on the side of the hip. Roll the outer left hip away from your armpit. Try to get as much length between your armpit and your top hip as you can. All right, come back to center. Come back out to flying with your arms at each corner. Draw your right knee up. Then straighten the right leg. Walk your left hand over to the right corner. Use your right hand to push you over. And then open up to this side. So you may find that one side opens up more than the other. Tight in different places. Yes, absolutely. You're still keeping, so sometimes we do this where we keep the leg parallel to the floor. But this one, because we're not trying to get the shoulder blades to the floor at this point, you're keeping the inner edge of the right foot glued to the floor, even pressing down into it. And roll your outer right hip away from your ribs. Oh, I don't know what that is, but. All right, and come on out. Come to your belly. And shift back into child's pose. Come up to hands and knees and turn your palms, your fingertips back. So you're coming back to do this pretty intense stretch on the inside of the wrist, the inside of the forearm. Spread the fingers and try to pull your thumb and your index finger towards each other. Pull up and in. Micro bend your elbows, and I mean that's a micro bend. It's like I'm trying to take my elbows back towards my hips, but not going much. And then come off, shake the hands. You tend to be a little hyper flexible. You might find that your elbow joint goes backwards, so you kind of have to control that. And then not putting weight on the hands, turn the top of the palms down just on the side so you can control the weight and stretch the top of the wrist. Spread the fingers and try to get all 10 fingers down and come back and shake it off. All right, plant the hands, walk the knees back, come into downward facing dog. Step your right foot forward, straight leg lunge. Spin the back foot down. You can use blocks or no blocks, but walk out diagonally, perching up on your fingertips. So there's very little weight in your hands. We do this a lot. It's one of my new favorites. Work the outer edge of your back foot and stick the bum way out. You should feel a pretty good stretch on the inner front thigh and also the front knee. Yeah, it's okay. It's okay. Adjust as you need to. Get a cramp. Yeah. The front knee, try not to turn it in. Try to turn it out, not by pushing the knee out, but by wrapping your outer right hip underneath you a little bit more. There you go. And then walk your hands in your blocks back to a triangle pose. You can have the block as high, medium, low as you need to. And on the inside, it's a little bit easier. On the outside, a little bit harder. So choose your poison. Keep the top hand on your hip and really push through the legs from the core of the pelvis out through the legs as though you're pushing them apart. At the same time, pull back and try to pull the legs together. See if you can find the middle place between pushing out and pulling in. Tailbone down, belly button up and in. Stack your shoulders, straight front leg. And if touching the block is not an option, Jerry, come up, straighten the front leg and put the hand on the inside of the leg. Come off the block, straighten the front leg, straighter. There you go. You want to feel that hamstring. And then wrap the top arm behind you and try to get into your right front pocket. Right? You're trying to crawl as far back behind the, not the right hand, sorry, the left hand. My bad, my mistake. I want to not say my bad anymore. I'm tired of it. All right, pick up the block and put it behind your leg if that's a doable. Otherwise, stay where you are. A little more unstable. Tailbone long and strong, belly button up and in. All right, bend the front knee and windmill the arms up, go back into downward facing dog. Lift your right leg high behind you. Keep the heart moving back. So the tendency is to shift the weight forward in the hands. Keep it back. You can bend your standing leg as much as your hamstrings need you to do that. Bend your right knee, pull the heel towards the glute, the right glute. And then without dumping your left shoulder, keep your left armpit high, open the right knee up. Don't you notice how the left shoulder wants to dump on that move? Lift it, keep it lifted. And then come back to dog. Ooh. And step your left foot forward, straight leg lunge. Come on up. And spin the back foot down and walk the hands in with or without the blocks, you choose. But you're light on the fingertips, the weight's all in your legs. The blocks give you a little bit of lift, it's nice. Not that it makes it any easier, it's just a different position. Soften the heart, so you're trying to lengthen the spine as much as you can. And notice the tendency of the front knee to roll in. So scoop your outer left bum underneath you more. And reach out more, but take the hips back. So there's so little weight on your hands that you can just hold it with one fingernail. There you go. And then walk it back, the block back in and come into triangle pose. Straighten the front leg, straighten the back leg, both legs super straight. Lengthen. Now scoop your outer left bum underneath you and draw the right shoulder back, then reach around and see if you can get your right hand in your left pocket, if you had a pocket. That's where you're going. Then if you want, take the block behind the foot, behind the heel, or to the outside left of the heel. It's a little bit different positioning and allows you to swing your torso a little bit back. It may feel unsteady. So figure out if that's what you need today. And then release. Spin down, downward facing dog. Come onto your belly. Oh, yes, yes, yeah, lift your left leg, yes, into, lift it up, bend the knee, and then open it up, wild thing, flex the foot, and open it up, and notice the right shoulder now wants to drop and dive. Keep it lifted, but keep lifting your right leg higher and higher, point your knee towards the ceiling. Jerry, if you can, open the hip, open, open, there you go. He says, you're gonna kill me one of these days, and release. All right. Come on down to the floor. A little bit of a hip stretch before we move into this last funky camel, I call it. All right, bring the right shin parallel to the short edge of the mat. And, right, yeah, the balls do want to escape. Oh, you got a little basketball. How did that do for you? Those are a little softer. Yeah, it works. It works. So you don't have to keep the back leg totally parallel, shin parallel with the short edge of the mat if that's too much for the hip. This is volume control by pulling the heel in, and how far you move it forward. That kind of helps a little bit to adjust it there, but figure out what that needs. And then I keep lifting up to roll my hip underneath me. And stretch out. You can use blocks under your forearms, or if your forearms come to the floor, have a tall block under your forehead. Oh my gosh, this suddenly got tight. Oh, Nikki, how you doing? Yeah, first time back since COVID or something? Almost. Yeah, spring, yeah. Oh yeah, I know. We have our dry spells, it happens. So we think about when the hips get tight, and sometimes it's because we've done something, done a lot of walking or running or biking, can make them tight. Or haven't done much for a while, that will make them tight. It's easy to think about the days when my hips were looser. Oh yeah. But you know, there's that gratitude for this being your best season. All you have to do is have something happen that scares you, like life-threatening scares you, and you start realizing right now is really pretty good. I love it. And come up. And you can either shift around and go backwards or just pull your other leg forward, whatever you want to do. Oh, and say hello to the other tight side. All right. So you're keeping the foot flexed. So it's almost like you're doing a 90-90, but this adjusts depending on what's going on. It's a version of pigeon without killing the knee. And then maybe you come down, maybe you don't. You can stay up. Yeah, so Debbie, that's a good option there, to stack 2 blocks on top of each other and not come down. And yeah, if that's bothering your hip, Michelle, just adjust it, roll it back and forth and kind of see if you can grease it up a little bit. Oh. And the front foot stays active. In fact, I like to put my hand or my arm on the inside of the front sole, the left sole of the foot, and push, because that goes deep into the hip socket then. And so you don't have to come down to your forearms. You can stay up. Just come to a place where you feel the stretch is good for you. All right. And come back up. All right. Come to hands and knees. And you'll want a block near you. So we've done this before, not a lot, but pull your left leg up in front of your right knee to come into a number 4. So you're not crossing all the way over eagle, and you can pad your knee if you want to. And then see if you can use your blocks to walk up, to stand. I know, well, now that's just new. So open your knee wider. Do your left knee, your other left knee. There you go. But it's open wide, so you've got a space in, yeah. The ankle and the other thigh are touching each other. So you use it's like, I don't know if I can stand or not. All right, now the next part of this, sorry, Debbie, I'm out of your eyesight here. The next part of this, if you want, is to take your right hand block behind you, and it's like a funky camel. So half beach babe with the left arm, push the head back and curl back. Oh yeah. And release. Now, if you want, you can try, I'll show you facing you here. I'll reverse it. You can try pulling the knee out farther to where you're a wider stance, and you may say, I don't think so. So pull it in front of you, keep it in front of you. Keep the leg in front, there you go. So just try that one. No, we didn't switch, same leg. I'm just mirroring you now. Yeah, so how's that feel? And then take your down leg block for the inside, has to kind of go on the inside on this one. And reach up. Or do the same one, the first one, over again. And push. It's like you're trying to move the tailbone forward as well as down. Pretty good stretch across the quadriceps. And inhale. Come up, change sides. Oh.
I don't think I've felt any half those muscles.
Right. I was like, well, now this is weird. So the first one, we've done this before where we've done cat-cow with number 4 legs. This is just a version of that. Coming up here. And you are trying, so this front knee will be a little in front of you, but you are trying to bring it back. It won't come even with the other knee unless you want to completely snap that joint off, but that's your choice. That's right. Who wants to do that? All right. Take the right hand block. Is it your left hand block? Sorry, I'm reversing it. And this one is half beach babe, because what happens is we curl forward because this is a back bend. This is scary. So push the head into the hands and open up. Woo. and release. You can do the same one second time, or you have to widen your knees wider apart, super wide. It feels more unstable, so don't do it if it feels too unstable. I know, it's just different. It took me a while to figure it out too. Now I find that the block on the inside of the back foot works better, but it may still work better on the outside, you decide. And this time you can either do half beach babe or reach all the way up. And you see how you feel the stretch on the quadriceps there, as well as into the hips. And release.
That's my back.
I know, I felt it in the QL right up there. Yeah, it was more having to work the QL rather than stretches it on the opposite side. All righty. Okay, a couple of nice sweet things for you. Take your strap and loop it. So run it through the D loop. So you run it through both and then back in, and I'll do yours if you can't figure it out. And keep it kind of big for now because you just don't know at this point. Anybody need help? So just make sure it's not twisted or yeah, in and then yeah, in and through. That's right, Nikki. There you go. All right. I used to do this a long time ago, back in the pre-COVID days. Just feels like prehistoric, doesn't it? All right, so watch a minute before you come down, because once you're on the floor, you're done for. All right, keep the buckle where you can see it more down the side. So I'm placing this right on the back. It's kind of above the ears. You don't want it into the neck, right? It's right there where your, yeah, the back of the cap goes in a way. And then this is where you have to figure out how much you need. You'll put the left foot in. You might have to hold this a bit. And then this is too loose for me. So if you put it where the tail is coming down towards you, then you can just tighten up as you need. Make sure it stays right there on the back of the head above the ears. And you just tighten it up. And my hair is clean, so now it's all slippery. Okay, and the head is a little bit off the floor. And you have enough tension so that the leg is comfortably straight and you kind of have a little rock. Do you feel it? I'll make sure you guys have got it. And online, ask me questions if I didn't get that to you. Yeah, figuring out how to get it there is the hardest thing. Yeah, snug it up.
You're suspended?
Yeah, you're a little suspended. The head's not way forward, but it's just hovering off the floor, if that's comfortable. Otherwise, keep it on the floor and you tighten it just as much as you need it. You good? There you go. Is that good? Yeah. Yeah. All right, I'll hold it here. You slip it. So if you have, here's the thing. If you turn it so the tail drops down, oops, oh, that's a twisty here. There you go. All right, put this under your head. I'll do it on this side for you. All right, now then you can just pull this from there. That's your adjustment. And the head's not too far up, just a little bit up, a little bit up, a little less than that. Let the head go back. Head go back. Let me loosen it up a little bit here. All right, let it go back. What, not that far. Okay, now just a little bit. Try to straighten the leg. There you go. And relax. There, Trish, is that good? Feels good? It should feel kind of nice. It's like a little suspension hammock in a way. And you settle in. Now, right now your right knee is bent, and that's fine, it can stay there. But you can also see what happens is you super slow, I mean, really slowly. And Debbie, you just reverse it, your left, it doesn't matter what side you did. So your bent leg, you can slowly flex the foot and see if it will straighten the down leg, the bent leg. Slowly, and if it feels like there's too much, then you bring it back to bent. And what you're working on there is to see if you can get the back of the thigh, towards the floor. So you're now, it's called your standing leg, the down leg. is you're working it like you're standing it. Nice. And if this is uncomfortable, then you adjust or take it out and just do regular Supta Padangusthasana. Will this lower? How's that? And then you kind of work. Is that okay on the
Yep.
knee? Okay. And just enjoy this. It's kind of a supported,
How do you get that down?
well, yeah, it's helpful if somebody sits on it. It's
Yeah.
true. Nikki was asking, how do you get that thigh down? Well, if I'm coming around it and at home, I'm pushing your top of your thigh down. For me, it usually, if somebody's really super open, they can get it down, but it will pop up, but you're working it down. That's the direction you're going to. And then bend your down leg and see if you can take one foot up and just cuddle it into the other one and change sides that way. Without having, and you'll find that leg might be quite different and you may either need to let it out or pull it up. This one might, your right leg, my right leg is a little less tight than my left. So you may need a little extra juice, but you just find that place where you can suspend. And I love that sense of suspendedness. Something about suspending the head is nice. And you rest here. And let go of everything that you can. And that includes the stuff that clutters the mind. I have a lot of that. Maybe that's why I'm so crazy about decluttering my house, because my mind is still so cluttered. And there's nothing wrong with that. That's where good creative ideas come from, to have lots of ideas and things swirling around. But sometimes you just need to still the busyness, the flutter, the clutter, so that the really good ideas, the good thoughts, the thoughts that benefit you, that help you, can rise to the surface. Then if you want to straighten the bent leg, do it slowly with thoughtfulness, noticing each change in the movement, how that's affecting what you're doing. And you're working through the down leg foot and working the back of the inner thigh towards the floor. Yeah, and that a great stretch
Yes.
across the top there. You feel that nice stretch across the line. And again, only if this is right for you. And each side's a little different. This side's pretty much down.
Closer.
Yeah, I have that. One side works better than the other. And then this is fun. Oh, right? Let me know if this is, you want, let me just, there we go. Rest that. I don't want to get your knee, but is that okay? It's a nice stretch here. Mhm. Yeah, aren't we all? And release. And set up for a supported Baddha Konasana. And there's a couple of different ways. So at home, if you don't have a bolster and you've got 2 blocks and a blanket, you set one block up on its middle level, the other on its flat level, here and here. And then what we'll do is you can do that and then place a bolster on the top to make a nice lawn chair. If you don't have a bolster, take a couple of blankets or nice thick beach towels and you place them on top and it does it just quite well. So for here, use your bolster. Let me get you a bolster, Amy, here, because I want you to use the blankets for something else. So, and then Baddha Konasana, bound angle, is where the heels are comfortably close to your hips, but you'll need something to support. There's a couple of ways to do that. Since you're already using your blocks, I would suggest if you've got the 2 blankets, roll 2 blankets the short way. So you have a little bit bigger roll. And each one goes under the knees, but you get it as close to your hips as possible. So it's not just on the knees, but get it right up there at the supporting both the outside of the calf and the hip. And then you just lower yourself down. You can do it just on regular blocks too, as supported fish. If you don't have everybody's got a bolster though, right? Make sure you're all set up. Yeah, you adjust that as you need to support you. Yeah. Yes. Do you want to put? Yeah. I'm sorry. What I failed to mention is that this is Shavasana. So you will want to be comfortable. Pull a blanket over you, put your socks back on, take your time. I've saved plenty of time for us to do a nice long one, especially as the crazy of the holidays. It's already crazy out there. It's not even that close to the holidays to the intense peace on earth, goodwill demanding, get the F out of my way season. Yes, you can put the ball there. So Michelle said, can you put the ball right under the occiput? Yes, you can, if you want. It's your choice. Play with it, decide what you want. There's so many ways to get yummy here. And if somebody wants an extra blanket to cover over, Debbie, would you like another blankie? I've got them right here. No extra charge. Yeah, what do you do with your arms? Good point. So you can just rest them at your side if that feels good, palms out and open, or sometimes it feels good to rest them on your belly. Kind of play around with what gives you the most sense of freedom and relaxation. So, the worst way to relax is for someone to tell you to relax, right? Just relax. Just calm down. That makes me want to just haul off and smack them. So I can give you suggestions for what might be comfortable, but you're the only one that knows if it's really truly comfortable for you, if it's what you want. And if you still get something like something's pulling, or you feel like I don't really want to stay here very long, let me know. I can maybe adjust it, or you always have the choice to come off of it and do regular Shavasana anytime. Yeah. Does that help, or do you want another blanket under your feet there? Huh? I know, right? We got lots of blankies, and they're going to the laundry. Thank you so much. Over the holidays anyway. So let me know if you need anything. Take this time to make sure you're comfortable. Yes, you could. A blanket under the head. Yeah. So for some of you, if you feel like your head's dropping too far back, a little bit of a blanket roll there feels quite sweet. Let's try this. Is that good? Okay. A little blanket roll right under the back of the neck is great, and that's what I'm here for. The face, yes, the face will be tense. So let's just play with that a little bit. So make a big face, open the mouth really wide, or yawn, and then pinch it up close together. And do that a couple of times. Opening, scream, it's the silent scream. And close. And then once it's closed, just pause there and start by swallowing to relax the throat first. Then part the back teeth slightly. The lips just very softly, barely touch. They're almost open. Then bring your awareness to the jaw and the cheeks and soften them, maybe even shift the jaw side to side if you need to. And soften the ears. We don't think about the ears as needing to soften. Just like a dog loves to have their ears rubbed. I love it. It feels so good. Soften the temples. The eyes are just very lightly closed. And in fact, they may be half open. Really, there's no rule or law that says they have to be smashed shut, just what's comfortable. And allow the eyeballs to settle back into the cradle of the eye socket. We tend to push the eyes forward to see and use those muscles. Then you can soften all the muscles around the eyes. And bring your awareness to the third eye center. It's between the eyebrows and just up a little bit, center of the forehead, and soften all the way into the center of the skull. You may even feel a slight tingling when you bring your awareness there. Soften the forehead, the scalp, even soften the hair. You know how when you're sick, your hair hurts? That means you can feel it, so soften it by softening the scalp. Watch the breath moving in and out, ever so sweetly, ever so softly. As thoughts come up, think of them as autumn leaves on the trees and watch the breeze just take the thought and flutter it to the ground. And you might do that over and over. This is also a good position, Michelle, for the congestion because your head's not lower than your heart. Begin to deepen your breath. Stretch your legs out long, flex and point the toes, make circles with the ankles. Do the same things in the fingers and the hands. Stretching, yawning, move the arms overhead, cross them across your body. Any sort of movements to help you wake up from the inside. And then slowly being mindful that you're up on a raised position, bend your knees and roll to your side. You can stay on the bolster or roll all the way to the floor. You decide. Just don't fall off the bolster. And then rest there for a few moments. And rolling a little more towards the floor, use the strength of your arms to press yourself up to a seated position. Sit well. And just remember, try to find out what's unnecessary that's cluttering your mind, cluttering your heart, cluttering your life. It prevents you from seeing that this really is the best season right now, in this moment. And draw the palms together in front of the heart center. Since we did not start the class with an Om, let's end with an Om. Inhale. Release the hands, flutter the eyes open. Thank you, guys.